Right, so that's now on my page. Good afternoon, Kevin. That was fun. It's crazy. I mean, if we go on to small time, then it goes straight to the page, no problem. Be live the same, but there's a little glitch here. Right. I'm glad it's this week and not last week, because you and I were both.
What happened last week? Oh yes, indeed.
Yeah, because we were going to do this last week, and that didn't quite work out. Anyway, we're here today, and we're going to talk about content curation. Are we? Yes?
Content creation.
Content creation. Okay. Shall we make a start then? And welcome to everybody watching us on Facebook.
So, do we get to see the messages coming in on Facebook, or
no?
Okay,
no, we can try that. We can try that next time.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. No problem. So, the thing is, it occurred to me that with this age of everybody creating these Facebook Lives and Periscopes and all of that, people seem to struggle with ideas for good content. Would you agree?
Yeah. Oh, totally. I mean, that's the search that goes on every single day is creating content.
Yeah. And I just thought it would be a good idea. When you said to me, well, what should we talk about? I thought, well, let's just talk about some of the ways that people can go off and create content, where they can get ideas from, because obviously in our day-to-day business, this is what we do. Yes, primarily in the written format, as in blogging, but we still have to come up with new ideas and stuff that people want to read.
That's it. You've got to keep your audience engaged and interested, haven't you?
No, absolutely. Otherwise, they get bored. And to be fair, I've seen over the past probably year and a half going on, starting with Periscope when that started last, the end of last winter.
Yep.
You know, the content people have put out has been, let's say, trying.
Yes, I understand where you're coming from.
You know, they started off really good, and it was like put a lot of thought and a lot of effort into it, and a lot of this is new and it's shiny, and I'm going to do the best I possibly can. And now it's gone to I'm live, come chat with me, and all of this type of stuff. Now the question really, and maybe this is one that you can answer, is does that stuff work? Do people care? And with live video stuff, do people expect a higher level of professionalism, even though it's a more relaxed type environment?
I think the live video comes down to content is crucial, because if you don't have content, then you just sort of aimlessly talking and what have you. I mean, when we do the Blabbing for Britain shows on Thursday mornings at 10 o'clock, that's the advert. We'll talk about anything and everything, but we do have topics to talk about. It is talking with an aim of not only informing people, but letting people know who we are, because it's networking. Yeah. So it works on a networking level. I think that the thing is, if you do anything aside from that, then you've got each video you do, each Periscope you do, has got to have an aim, hasn't it? It's got to have a purpose, a reason for people to tune in.
Yeah, I think so. And when I don't know about how you approach it, but I look at two things. And the two things I look at is the title of what's being talked about. So the overall basis of what it is, and providing they keep on topic, I'll stay with it. And the second thing, some of the platforms will allow you to see who else is watching it. So, for instance, if you go onto Periscope now, you can see which of the people you're connected with on Periscope are watching. So if it's someone that I like and someone that I know likes stuff that I like, I'll probably go and watch somebody new on the basis that they're watching it already or they've shared it.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So I think it's harder now to get a brand new cold audience because there's just so much of this going on.
I agree, but we are as far as desktop video is concerned, we're just starting up. Yeah.
We are, and it's interesting, and I find, you know, I follow you avidly with your research into finding the optimal desktop platform to live stream from, and I look at ones like Bluejeans and it sort of does okay, and there's bits that are missing. Then I look at the one that we looked at yesterday, which was BeLive, which I really like the comments on that, where you can flash up the comments so people can interact with you that way, because I'm all for the interaction, and I feel very apprehensive being on here knowing I'm talking to you, but there's other people that are listening that may be commenting on Facebook that I can't see. Well, I can if I open another window, but you see my point with it. It's not quite slick.
The thing is, you don't want to be distracted, do you? If you go off looking at the Facebook page and reading the Facebook page, you can do it when I'm talking, I can do it when you're talking, but it doesn't look right on the screen. And when you're trying to create, as we're doing, a conversation between us, herring off somewhere else to find out what's going on, it's taken as not being interested in, perversely, it's taken as not being interested in your audience. When in fact, the reverse is true, because you're trying to find out what people are saying and react to it. I mean, I know Johnny's with us today, so welcome, John. I'll post you a link in a moment when we've got underway. Yeah, I mean, it is. That's where BeLive scores, because they brought the Facebook comments onto the page that you're using, and you don't have to leave it. You can highlight the comments, you can respond to them live, and I think next time out, I should try that. But we're on Bluejeans at the moment, which is the Rolls Royce of platforms, really, because it's got everything that we could ever need, apart from the bits that are missing, if that makes sense.
I'm just finding it really interesting that people are building a business around the Facebook Live stuff. And, I look at the app, and I was told this week, I don't know how true it is, that on Windows 10 you can now download a Facebook app to your desktop and go live via that. So therefore, why my big question at the moment is, firstly, why would I need an external system to do Facebook Lives? And secondly, why would I pay for it? And I've yet to find a compelling answer to that.
Well, in terms of the Windows 10 app, then yes, I mean, that works, and it's one person. You can stream live to Facebook, no problems at all, and it's just you. But you can't see the comments, and it is limited in what it can do. The best way to do it is to use something like vMix or OBS, which is, but you need a Ninja PC for that. I'm exploring it at the moment, but the problem is that we're on Bluejeans now, and there's a delay between what we say here and what happens on Facebook. So unless the comments are coming in live, you totally screwed, really, because you're answering the question before. So yeah, I mean, BeLive is an answer to this. But in terms of creating content, I mean, video is one way of doing it, isn't it? Because if you're camera ready, you can go online and you can talk about your topic, and people will become involved, because we are pioneering this sort of system. I mean, you doing the Periscopes when that really got going. How's it going at the moment on Periscope?
Periscope is an evolving platform, and I've heard recently that Meerkat is making a comeback as well.
Okay.
I always liked the Meerkat platform because you could pre-schedule them on there where you couldn't on Periscope. I like that, where people could pre-register and then be notified. That takes some of the guesswork out of it all. And of course, with Periscope, the biggest issue was people being available. If they weren't available right then, right there when you went live, and there was no way really of you telling them on Periscope you were going to go live. You could tell them on Facebook and Twitter and stuff, but you couldn't actually tell them there. It was all real hit and miss, and we spent most of our time with people saying, "Oh, I'm really sorry, I just saw that you was live, and it finished." But we had so many comments like that. It was really frustrating on both sides.
Yeah.
So I got that. the good thing about the Facebook Live against that is your audience is on Facebook. So if you say, I'm going live in an hour, then you're telling your audience on that platform. Whereas with Periscope, you couldn't do that. You still can't do that. Yeah. You've got to do it with an external. So you've got to not only connect with them on Periscope, you've got to connect with them somewhere else and hope they pick it up. So it was always a bit iffy for me on that side of things. But the improvements they've made, I really like the voting system that they've got now. So if they see Periscope was rife with, let's say, inappropriate commenters, and one of the things now is it will now highlight a comment and ask you to vote as to whether it was inappropriate or not.
Okay. Yep.
So you can basically, if 2 or 3 people say, yeah, it was a naff comment, then they'll just boot them out of the system.
Which means you as presenter can concentrate on what you're saying rather than watching the comments. People are actually, so it's moderation by the group, isn't it? The group of people watching.
Yeah. So it's come on. I've no doubt Periscope will evolve into more than what it is now. It's come so far in a year and a half. It's unbelievable, and it's pioneered the way for live streaming in a lot of ways. But I'll be interested to see what Meerkat does. And of course, we've got things like Lively in now as well, which is an offshoot of Musical.ly, and all of these types of things. So there's loads of them out there now.
Yeah.
But, you know, the thing for me is that getting back onto what we were originally talking about and not dissecting the whole live stream thing too much, talking about content. And if people are going to go off and create these live streams, these recorded live streams, which obviously a lot of people go and watch the recording afterwards, for me, there's 2 real fundamental things. And the first thing is you've got to know how to write a headline, how to write a title. Right, and not a really boring, naffy, hashtag-filled title, because people think putting 25 hashtags in a title is going to work, and that really is irritating. But a headline that really gets to what the purpose of the talk is about. And then secondly is creating, just like you would with blogging, you would create a content plan. So you create a content calendar. So therefore you would say, okay, this week I'm going to talk about, I'm going to do 7 days on how you can get the best from Twitter, for instance. And you would do day 1 on, right, what is Twitter? Day 2 is getting a following on Twitter. Day 3, retweeting on Twitter. Day 4, getting sign-ups on Twitter. You know, so you would have a congruency going through. Rather than, there's a lot of one-hit wonders out there, where they'll do one and then it's great, but you sort of feel you're a little bit left hanging, that they could do a bit more.
Cheated. Yeah, you feel cheated, don't you?
Yeah, and
if you liked it, you want more.
But you can go from having too much stuffed into one live, where it overwhelms people, where, you know, I could sit here and rattle off 50 different ways of you getting content, right? But it's going to be too much for people. They're not going to be able to take it all in. Yeah, they'll take in the first 5, maybe 10, but by the time I get to number 30, they've either gone off, made a cup of tea, or they fell asleep, or they want to hang themselves from the nearest rafter. But therefore, what you could do is split that down into 5 shows.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because remember, with all of this stuff, if we're doing this for networking stroke business, which I think a lot of people are, I'd say the majority of people I follow certainly are, for their visibility and their credibility, then you can't gain that in one show. No. You've got to do it by a repeated message going through.
I totally agree. That if you've got to be consistent. And if you say you're going to turn up at Tuesday at 12 o'clock every week for so many weeks, then you do it. And there's no way around that. Because if you turn up when you want to turn up, then the odds are that people who are expecting you at midday and you turn up at 3 o'clock, they won't be there.
No.
Yeah.
So my first 2 things would be headline and create a content plan.
Okay.
To go forward. And then, of course, we get on the content's going to be. So how do we actually come up with ideas that people care about enough to come and watch? Now, remember that with this type of environment, it's, for me, it's very much, it's not a webinar, it's not a dictatorship, it's not a I'm giving you this information and you've got to suck it up and that's it. I like conversation back. I like people saying, well, why is that the best way to write a headline, or why is that the best thing to do, or how do I do this, or following on from what you've just said, how do I do that? So for me, this is where the skill of a presenter comes in, that they can keep stream on topic but have flexibility in there to be able to answer the questions of the audience or direct them to where the answer is. So so that would be the third part for me, is actually getting where do you get the content from? And there's a number of things that you can do to get content. The first one, which is the most obvious one but the most overlooked one, is to go to YouTube.
Oh, right, okay.
Right.
Now, why YouTube?
Because YouTube is owned by Google. It's the second biggest search engine in the world. Right. So if it's being talked about on there, people are looking for it. Okay. So find out what your keywords are. Find out what you think you want to talk about. So, for instance, if I want to talk about how to build a big following on Twitter, right, and I type that into YouTube and there is 0 results for it, it means 0 people are looking for it.
Right. Yes. Okay. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. If I come up and I find 10 videos and they've all had 50 views on it and they've all been up for a year plus, it's a dead topic. Nobody cares. Right. Nobody cares enough to watch it. Okay. If I go on there and there's 10 videos and they've had 50 million views on it in the last 3 weeks, you can be pretty sure that it's a hot topic and it's one to get onto. Yeah, it's what people are looking for currently. So you can use the YouTubers' own egos of showing their views, because they all love to show you how many views they've got. Yeah. Indeed. Which is because it's a credibility thing. But you can use that to your own advantage when you're researching the type of topics that you want to talk about. So, for instance, if you're going to talk about how to build a Twitter following, and it comes up and there's 50 million views on 10 different videos in the last 3 weeks, you can build a series of lives, like I said earlier about doing the 5 different ones around Twitter, because people are still interested.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So that would be the first and the easiest way, I would say, of getting a guaranteed way of creating content that people actually want to find, they want to hear about.
Right. So what we're doing is switching this around, so you're talking about what people want to hear rather than what you want to say. Yeah. So
there's no point talking about something.
Yeah. Rather than blathering on about your interests, you're actually finding out what people are interested in, and you're talking to them about that and getting them involved.
That's the basics of any business, Stephen.
Right. Okay.
You sell what people want. If people don't want what you're offering, then you're never going to make a sale.
That's where I'm going wrong. I hear what you're saying.
But that's marketing as well, because often what we do is we come up with these crazy ideas and we go, wouldn't it be good if we could do this, and wouldn't it be great if we could do that, and we go, right, well, now all my audience, you're going to love this because I'm telling you you're going to love it. Yeah. But often they don't care, they don't understand, they don't really know what it is, they don't really want it. But what they've got is burning questions about other stuff that you could quite happily answer, but you're bored about because you've been talking about it for 3 years. But it's what they want to know right now.
Indeed, that is key, because it's just brought thought to my mind that you're actually, instead of trying to swim upstream, you're going with the stream and coming downstream, and you're not fighting two battles. If you bring up a topic which is totally new to everybody that nobody's interested in, first of all, you've got to get them interested in the topic. Only then can you establish your expertise. So I'm with you totally.
But if you look at companies, right? If you look at companies that bring out something brand new and innovative, they do a number of things. They do their market research at conception level.
Yep.
If we bought this out, would anybody be interested? Right? So they spend a lot of time doing market research. Then they do a heap of time about brand awareness, about awareness of the product before it's even launched. All right?
Yeah.
And then they tell people it's now available.
Right.
So they're not going, oh, here's this thing, come and buy it. They've already warmed everybody up to it.
Yeah.
But it takes a long time to do that. What I'm saying is, don't worry about all that, because we're not Apple, we're not big companies like that. Let's go off and find what people are wanting, what they're looking for help with, and give them the help.
Right. Okay, gotcha. Right.
And we can do that by researching places like YouTube. We can do it by researching places like Twitter, where people are putting in certain frustrations that they may have with different things. You know, for web design stuff, Twitter's a goldmine, because people are always moaning about how their sites are broken. If I was a hosting company, I would spend my life on Twitter.
Yeah.
I honestly would, because the amount of times I go on there, oh, my hosting's down again. Oh, my host doesn't respond to me. Oh, my website's offline again. I'm losing business. Think of all those leads you could suck up.
Yeah, indeed.
So, as far as what we're talking about, creating the content, researching, looking for what people are asking, I think is probably the easiest and quickest way to creating a content calendar going forward that people are going to start engaging with.
Right. Gotcha.
What's your thoughts?
I hadn't thought of YouTube as a place to look for, you know, what to talk about. I'm going to go and do that after we finish. But no, I mean, although we're pioneering video, I think video is the way things are going. But you've got to talk to people about what they're interested in, because if you talk about what you're interested in, then it's very difficult, because you've got to do two things. You've got to establish what you're talking about and then build your credibility. So you're facing two battles instead of one. Right, so YouTube is one of your primary areas. Where else would you look for content?
Where else would we look for content? We would look, we can do topical content, so that's always quite popular. So looking at what's going on in the local news and then switching that into something that's applicable to your business. So, for instance, let's, without going into depth, because I don't do politics, but I'll use it as an example. So anybody watching this, don't hold it against me. I don't do politics, but it's a cold example. If you was to look at the Donald Trump stuff at the moment and certain allegations that have been made.
Yeah.
Now, if you were a employment lawyer, for instance, an employment solicitor, you could use that story and the back of that story to get all of the traffic that's trying to find old Donald, right? Write some articles, do some live streams about your spin on how that situation could have been avoided, dealt with, etc., within the law that you deal with as the expert in employment law.
Yep.
Yeah. So you could spin it round. Without actually commenting on his situation, because that's nothing really to do with it. But it is something that's what we call topical, so therefore lots of people are talking about it. It's probably trending on Twitter, it's probably trending in lots of places, so it will be high up for those types of things in the search engines. So if we suddenly start doing live streams about something closely related, without naming him obviously, it's topical, it's what people are looking for. You know, so it's a great way of finding content that will be interesting to your audience by looking at what's going on in the news, whether it's the local news, the worldwide news, it doesn't really matter, and then seeing if there is a way of connecting that to your industry and your business.
Gotcha. I mean, I use make quite a bit of use of RSS feeds and FeedSpot in particular. Feedspot.com, and that's all one word.com. That brings you the latest news on the minute news, really, so you can find out what's going on in the world, but also gives you content that you can tweet out. I mean, if you can't and shouldn't tweet about your business all day, you've got to tweet about what you're interested in, what interests other people, and therefore using an RSS feed means that you can be on the ball, and when something happens anywhere in the world, you get informed, and you can then decide whether you want to let other people know. Now, most of the time, if I get technical news, then I'll retweet it out without thinking. Political and religious, I think twice, but it is a great way to show that you know, if it's your industry. I mean, I've got search tags up on Twitter for Buzzer and Bluejeans, so anything relating to the video platforms, I get to get notified, and I can spread the news. So it helps you become an authority, doesn't it? Because what you're looking for is to become the go-to person, and it's not just your knowledge; it's your knowledge of other people's knowledge. If you follow me, I've lost it there.
There'll always be somebody that hears the news before you do. It doesn't matter who you are. There's always somebody, unless you're the CEO that's just developed that and launched it, there's somebody else who's going to know before you do. And it doesn't matter how well known you are in whatever field you're in. So the idea is just like we do within the blogging world, and we do within all of the other worlds that we're involved in, you make connections. You hook up with people, you share knowledge, you share all of that stuff, just like we've always done. You know, it's a crucial part, I think, of not only networking online, but building your own credibility is not only sharing the information you've got, but being receptive to information being shared back. You know, and that's how you get to know over a period of time, you know, what's going on.
Now, I mean, there is one key thing which we're grateful for, both of us grateful for. People do watch our videos, people do read our blogs, people do follow our tweets. What we must do, and I think and everybody must do, is reading something doesn't mean that you're interacting. If you read a good blog or you see a good tweet, if you take no action, then the person who created it doesn't even know you've seen it, because we live in a world of anonymity. If you want to show you're interested in something, and I know it sounds banal, but if you'd like a post on Facebook, if you like a tweet, then like them and retweet them, because that's the way that you build connections, isn't it?
It's interesting because people have these discussions day in, day out at real length. You know, what advantage is there to me to doing a Facebook like on a post? Do I get any extra points for that? Blah, 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 blah. Well, the cold, hard facts of the matter is that it shouldn't really come into the equation. Right? If you see somebody that you respect in business, or that you know that your audience would appreciate, then you see an article that you think is good, well written, and it's good, and you like it, then you share it. Or you click a thumbs up, or you do whatever it is you want to do, share it on LinkedIn, wherever you think is right to do so. Or if you really want to be good, then go off and leave a comment. Now, people will say to you, well, you know, I'll go off, and somebody said go and comment 3 times a day and blah, 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 all of this. I think the thing is, if you do it in a genuine fashion, as in it's stuff that's related to what you do or your interests, what happens, the connected world nowadays will constantly show you an area of people that are like you, that have likes like you, whether they're business or not.
That's the way it works.
We do it on Facebook. You know, you go onto Amazon and you go and look for something. So say you're looking for saucepans, right? So you're on Amazon looking for saucepans, blah, 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 blah. You go onto Facebook and the first ad that pops up is a saucepan.
Yep.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
Whether we like it or not, we're being stalked constantly. Yeah? We get shown what these massive companies worth billions want to show us. And I believe it's the same with connections. So when we get suggested Twitter people, it will be done on our behaviours. You know, what we've shared, what we've engaged with, and all of that. You know, and you must see it yourself that if you're into a lot of technology, you'll be asked to go off and follow people on Twitter that are technology-based people that share a lot of technology stuff.
Yeah, I think. Sorry, Kevin. I think that on Facebook it matters a lot. If you like somebody's post, then they not only see that you've liked it and you appreciated it, but if you like a post, then the person whose post you like will see more of your content on Facebook. And that's the way it goes. If you've got to tell Facebook what you like, I mean, it can tell by how long you spend on a post. If you spend a long time watching a video, then Facebook will show you more videos like that. and that's to be expected. But if you get people, if you like people's posts and they like your post, then you're actually building a content stream which makes sense to you. Because people sort of say, well, I don't like Facebook because the stuff I'm seeing is not the stuff I want to see. But that's in your control. We decide what we want to see. By liking and interacting with people, I know it sounds strange, but if you have a conversation with somebody on Facebook Messenger, yeah, guess what happens? Their stuff starts showing up in your feed where it didn't before. Yeah, so it's in your interest to acknowledge content that you like, because you get more of it. Yeah.
I agree, and there's also the human support aspect to it as well. So, for instance, if I see something from a friend that may be in a completely unrelated business and I just want to support them, I'll go off and maybe share that post from.
Yep.
Why not? This whole thing is all about human beings. Let's be honest. It's not a cold hard strategy just to get what we want ultimately. There is a bit of just giving because we can give.
Yeah,
and I think that's important as well. But I like Facebook. I like Facebook a lot, and I like. You're right with the controls that you do get, and you can also hide posts that you don't like, so you can train the system. Yeah. You can stop default following people, so you can unfollow if you wish. So there's a whole heap of different settings that you can tweak as well if you're not quite liking what you're seeing.
Oh, indeed, I mean, with the unfollow, I mean, I use that probably 2 or 3 times a week, because there's stuff that turns up on my timeline that's not relevant.
Sorry about that.
No, I always see your posts and Sarah's and Babs and a load of good friends. So no, you've got me there. Right, we said earlier that on Facebook and video, we should sort of appreciate people's time. And we've been running for nearly 40 minutes now. So we'll say, because I've noticed a difference today. First of all, we always enjoy chatting. But if we were using Be Live today, then we would have a lot more interaction. And I want to prove that. So if we could get together again on part 2 of this, and we'll use Be Live next time and see what happens. Okay. What do you think?
I'm interested in Be Live. I'll be honest with you, Bluejeans isn't doing it for me.
Okay. Yeah.
It's quite a stable platform. The sound and the quality's been good. I get that. I just find the whole interface complicated.
You do need a pilot's license. You do need a pilot's license. That's why if you want to go live on him, go live to Facebook, you've got to do it now. Well, you've got to do some training. I mean, but I'm just telling you an apocryphal story. On Be Live, he announced it, BeLive.tv. He was chatting to Annie Mura, who's the guy who does the plugins for WordPress, simple press plugins, and he said to him, "Can I tell some friends in a group about Be Live?" And so he said, "Yeah, of course you can. Tell them." And on Friday, he told people, and virtually overnight, he had hundreds of people on BeLive.tv, and they hadn't expected it, and they withstood the load. But it shows that the power of networking, that word just got round and round and round. And the amazing thing is that he said they were expecting to do a lot of hand-holding. Come onto our platform and we'll show you how to use it. You spent half an hour with us. Right. 80% of the people who turned up over the weekend just did it. They didn't ask any questions. They just went and broadcast straight away. Now, that to me is a nod backwards to the power of Blab, because Blab taught us all that we know, and we're now benefiting from that because we can go to any platform and broadcast straight away. So shall we get together again? That's the question. And when?
Yes, let's do that.
Shall we be consistent? Next Tuesday at 12?
next Tuesday at 12 sounds good to me. And we'll be on Be Live, and we'll be taking questions. So we'll work out how that works. So that'll be quite cool. I really liked it yesterday with the questions, and it came up with a person's name and their picture and stuff. It looked very professional. It's just that logo in the top corner that was sort of looked like a 3-year-old had scribbled it on. If it had just put it on one line along the top, it would have been hardly noticeable. But there was a massive gap. It was like that, like with the Be Live, and then a massive gap, and then the next words underneath it. It's like, really? You create a complicated platform like this, but you can't space out 4 words.
Well, as Kev said, thank you to everybody who's been watching. He and I will be back same time next week, because we're going for this consistency thing, and we look forward to seeing you then. Okay. Cheers,
Kev. Awesome. Thanks, Stephen.
Right, I'm going to switch off on Facebook, so we're now